We're going to give you our final thoughts here for Week 7. As we do every single Thursday, our final thoughts, final predictions. And this final predictions label isn't necessarily picking a game. I'm just kind of telling you what I think is going to happen within these games. And I think the first thing we got to talk about here is Tennessee and Texas A&M. A win for Tennessee is going to require Josh Heupel to just get in his Duffy. Like to be absolutely in his bag. Like a grocery store clerk is what we need from Josh Heupel, because Texas A&M up front, they do a tremendous job stopping the run. Allowing 2.6 yards a carry. That's good for top 5 in the country. Tennessee, a lot made about them throwing the ball downfield and the vertical attack, but like they want to pound the rock. They're a run-first football team. We went up to Neyland Stadium and saw them play South Carolina, and that was an edgy, physical football team in the trenches. That's who they want to be. The reason why I emphasize the importance on Josh Heupel is I think for Texas A&M, personnel-wise, you can't play them straight up. I don't think you say our guys versus your guys. We like our guys better. We're going to win because of that. I think they have too much talent and too much size on the interior there. So it becomes a matter of, okay, if you want to run the football, can you do some things to throw them off balance schematically to still run the football how you want to? Or is it a thing where we just say, okay, we can't run the ball today? Joe Milton, the game is now in your hands. So for Josh Heupel, we got to dial up open shots downfield, hopefully. I mean, in a perfect world, you would get some vertical shots downfield, but even more realistically, we got to create some easy, open, quick game for him. I'm oversimplifying it a little bit, but I'm saying pre-snap, get us something that we know without a shadow of a doubt we can get the football to these two options. Okay, so just kind of getting him comfortable, get him into the game, mellow out that front 7, and then maybe we go back to the run game. Maybe it's a pass to run kind of situation if we're Tennessee. But a Tennessee win, I wholeheartedly believe, would require Josh Heupel doing what Josh Heupel does, to be real, and calling a tremendous offensive game plan. Goes without saying, every single game you play if you're Tennessee, Josh Heupel has to call a tremendous game, but I think especially in this one, with what they have up front, that'll be extra important. Now, on the other side of things for A&M, I think this is the kind of game where you need to involve Evan Stewart. Because Evan Stewart, he's been dinged up. He's been a little bit quiet the last couple of weeks. But this is the game in a spot like this where you need a win if you're Texas A&M. You're on the road. It's going to be a raucous environment. I mean, like I said, we were there a couple of weeks ago. That place will be berserk. You need your ballers to be ballers. And you're on the road, like I already talked about. You're looking to avoid your second straight loss. Perhaps most importantly, you're playing with a backup quarterback. Max Johnson, I trust him, but at the end of the day, he is still your backup quarterback. Can you be the safety blanket for him? Can you be the guy that we're feeding when we get pressure because we know Evan Stewart's going to win his matchup? And I think for Bobby Petrino, one of the things we talked about when he got to A&M was his whole philosophy, feed the studs. Hey, that was your objection, right, if you're an A&M fan. We don't get the ball to our best players nearly enough a season ago. This year, that's changed. In this game, I want to see Evan Stewart be that guy. I think he is your most talented receiver. There's a great case for a lot of other guys, but I think he is ultimately the person who needs to see the football consistently. And quite frankly, a pretty high volume of targets for him is what I would expect and hope for if I'm an A&M fan. Tennessee gets after the quarterback a fair amount as well. I would dial up some short-range stuff for Evan Stewart to be able to get him the ball in space. Really good jump ball. I think he's also pretty dangerous with the ball in his hands after the catch as well. So would love to see that. Now, this is kind of our prediction call for you here when it comes to final thoughts and predictions. Those two are final thoughts. This is more of a prediction for the Oregon and Washington game. If you've watched the show for any length of time, you know I am fairly high on Dan Lanning and the way that he does things and the way that Oregon's a complete football team. Like, I think this is the game where we leave after watching them play. I think this is the game where we leave Oregon after watching them play Washington in Seattle, and we are just all convinced, like, okay, Oregon is the new bully in the West Coast. Oregon is the bully in the Pac-12. And I'm not saying that to say that Washington won't still score points and they won't still throw the ball downfield and have some success there. I just think when we turn on the broadcast and you watch the way that line of scrimmage moves, especially when Oregon has the football, I would be surprised if we don't see Oregon move that line of scrimmage the majority of the time 2 to 3 yards in their favor. Because that's the way they've built this thing to this point. That's what they've looked like against lesser competition. Quite frankly, that's the way that Washington has looked against lesser competition. They've allowed 4 yards a carry. Oregon is averaging 6 yards a carry. They're going to impose their will. And we're going to leave saying, okay, Oregon's going to be a force the rest of the way. Do we see this matchup twice? I don't know, but I think we leave saying Utah was the bully in the Pac-12. They seem to be kind of finding their footing still right now. Oregon's that bully this year because of how they're built, because of who their head coach is, heck, because of what they have at the quarterback position too. I think that's the way that he operates too. I don't think he's a guy that just is out there being a soft quarterback and wants to just drop back and throw the football. You watch the way Bo Nix plays, fiery, competitive. He gets downhill when he runs the football. Like, this whole team embodies that persona of having an edge and being physical. And it's not just going to be on the line of scrimmage. I think you can watch it on the perimeter too. Because the way that Oregon operates, if you look at the percentage of their run to pass in terms of play calls, they're actually a little bit more heavy on the pass side of things. And the way that they're going to operate this game, I would expect they'll run the ball more than we've seen previously, but also they're going to attack with the bubble screen. They'll attack with the perimeter passes, and they're going to bully Washington on that side of the ball as well, at that position as well, with their receivers taking pride in blocking, getting north and south. So we're calling our shot there. I think Oregon does bully Washington, and I think we can turn on the tape and see it pretty clearly with how they operate. Now for USC against Notre Dame, we got another thought here. This to me feels like a culture-proving kind of game for USC. Like, if not now, then when for USC? We've talked about the game against Arizona. It was triple OT. It was a look-ahead spot. It's Arizona. Like, game against Colorado. Okay, it's Colorado, and you were up in that game. I understand you had to recover an onside kick to win the game, but, like, really had that game won a little bit more handily than what the final score ended up being. This is the game where we got to find out who you are if you're USC. You've had multiple weeks now to build to it. It's no secret what Notre Dame's going to do. They're going to line up in double tight ends. Audric Estime is going to get the football and come downhill at you, and you got to stop it. This is the game we figure out who they are and what they want to be. Because this is a game where there's no guessing, and it feels like to me similar to how Georgia played Kentucky last week. The mission was clear. We knew Kentucky was getting downhill at Georgia. Same thing for Notre Dame. We know they're going to get downhill against USC. That is what they're going to try and do. Can USC stop it? I don't know. But if they have some pride about themselves, if they have a little bit of that bad intentions about themselves, they have an edge about themselves, we'll see them put up a fight. I'm not asking USC to just outright stop the run. I think that's a pretty tall order. But we'll see a little bit more fight from this USC team that I don't know that we've seen just yet. And what it'll take in my mind is someone in that locker room drawing a line in the sand and saying, nope, we're not going that way anymore. We're going this way. If you're with me, get behind me. Let's keep going this way. But if you're not, get out of here. And I don't know if it'll be quite as extreme as, players leaving the team. I'm just saying you're going to see a very clear, if they stop somebody running the football, leader and followers go in that direction. Okay, so I'm just saying, draw a line in the sand kind of game for USC. Either get with us or don't get with us if you're USC. Like, this is the kind of game in that locker room where I would love to see them rally together, point one direction, and get after it. So we'll see. There's a reason you brought Barry Alexander there. There's a reason you brought Jack Sullivan there. There's a reason you brought Anthony Lucas there. It's for games like this. Would love to see them lead that charge in this football game. So those are our final thoughts and predictions for Week 7. And prize picks, I'll start with this. Daily fantasy. I hadn't played until this year. To this point now, I've had a blast using this every single college football Saturday. And it is, like I said, daily fantasy, safe, easy to use, tons of fun. It's different players' projections throughout the week, which is essentially a square, and you put a play together with multiple squares, and eventually you can do a power play or a flex play. A power play is like, hey, we got to get all of these right to make our money. A flex play is if we get a percentage of these right, depending on how many squares you have together, you end up getting a certain percentage depending on how many you get right. If you get all of them right, you get more out of your entry. If you get less right, you only get a smaller portion. So that'll make sense. But with that being said, now redeem code JD, 100% deposit match up to $100, but we got some plays for you this week. We got a power play, and we're going to go ahead and aim small, miss small. Shout out Mel Gibson, shout out the Patriot. We're aiming small, we're missing small on our prize pick plays this week. How's that for an alliteration? First play we like, Roman Wilson. His number is a half a receiving touchdown against Indiana. Y'all, we like the more there. Roman Wilson has 8 receiving touchdowns on the year. Going to make it 9. Heck, maybe he'll make it 10 after this weekend. I don't know, but I like Roman Wilson a lot. They'll go to him in the red zone. He's difficult to guard one-on-one. Like, with how much they're going to run the football, it's going to leave less attention on him. He will have a receiving touchdown. Go ahead and book that one. Brian Thomas, receiver for LSU. He also has that same number, half a receiving touchdown. He is a one-on-one nightmare, and the reality for LSU is Malik Neighbors exists. So if you're Auburn defensively, pick your poison. You want to double cover Malik Neighbors? Brian Thomas is getting his. You want to double cover Brian Thomas? Malik Neighbors is getting his. Now, the reality is I think they will show more attention to Malik Neighbors by nature of the damage he's done to this point in the year. So expect Brian Thomas to have a moment in this game where he throws his hand up and says, hey, Jaden, I'm open, brother. Put it up for me. Also, Brian Thomas is just a massive human being, so he will have a touchdown catch in this game. We like the more there. Last one for you. Again, this is a power play, so we got to get all 3 of these right. Bucky Irving. His number is 113.5 receiving and rushing yards combined. We like the more there. We're going to talk more about this game in just a little bit on this program, but I'm telling you, Bucky Irving will be a massive part of what Oregon does against Washington this coming Saturday. Whether it's getting him the ball downhill on inside zone or power, or they're swinging the ball out to him on the perimeter and he's able to get north and south that way. I love that number for him. I love the more there. So you're saying, JD, that's a lot of mores. That's a lot of, these guys putting out a lot of production. Like, yes, of course it is. Of course it is. We root for these young men to achieve their dreams and have big-time moments in big-time college football games, and we make no apologies about it. So we like all those for the more. To recap it for you, Roman Wilson, half a receiving touchdown, more. Brian Thomas, half a receiving touchdown, more. Bucky Irving, receiving and rushing yards, 113.5, more. We love it. A power play, that's 5x your entry. Again, redeem code JD, 100% deposit match, up to $100. Get dialed in with Prize Picks, and make sure that you get after this play this upcoming weekend. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.